Good afternoon, good people. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. What it do? What it do? What it do? It's another Monday. Not so great Monday, but another Monday. Monday, nonetheless. And your boy is back to do what he does. We can do what we do. We gonna talk a little bit. So, what's up, TikTok? I'm live at Sports Rap CEO on TikTok, so you can find me. Tune in, chime in. Instagram, as always, at Sports Rap CEO as well. Y'all know what to do when y'all get there. Chime in, let me know. I see that you there and wave. Whatever. Make me know who you are, where you are calling from, where you chiming in from. And just talk to me a little bit. Of course, first things first. It is December 1st. Yeah, that first things first. It's December the 1st. December the 1st, Cyber Monday. And I hope all of you are doing your due diligence. Excuse me for 1 second. I'm just writing some names down. So that's Sergio Rolana. One joined on TikTok. Thank you for tuning in, brother. Hope you get back after this and go check out the rest of the page and see what's going on over there at Sports Web CEO, whatever. But make sure you check that out. But anyway, again, Cyber Monday. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving, a great Thanksgiving. Hope you had some time to deal with your family, spend some time with your family. I had to work, but I also had time to spend with family. So it was a good Thanksgiving for me. I had a good weekend. I had a great, for last 4 days were really good, although I had to work 2 of them, but they were pretty good. The 2 days I didn't have to work, I hung out with family. It was a great weekend, so I enjoyed that. But again, like I was saying, it's Cyber Monday. What are we all doing? Are we all sneaking at work, shopping? If we still at work, I see it's still only just about 4 o'clock, so some of y'all might not be in yet, but y'all sneaking at work, shopping, or y'all gonna wait till y'all get home. Or some of y'all that might already be home, maybe didn't have to work today. Y'all cyber shopping. What are y'all buying? What's the hot things to buy this year for Cyber Monday? But anyway, we know what it is this Monday, and I have to get you guys caught up with the sports world from the weekend, right? Definitely got to get you caught up. You know what we do. I'm going to give you some news real quick. I'm going to give you some scores from yesterday. And we'll get into the NFL. And then we are going to talk some Eagles. We're going to talk some Sixers. And a few other things that I got sprinkled in that I want to get to, that I want to talk about. So sit tight, buckle in, and ride the wave. All right, some news and some updates. LSU has formally fired Brian Kelly without any major cause or legitimate cause or whatever. So that's going to trigger allegedly a $54 million buyout. We'll see what happens there. Then they're also expected to hire Lane Kiffin. So they had some things up their sleeve. They didn't really give him a reason why they were letting him go. But to let him go was probably we're talking to, like they say, tampering when they talk about the NBA and the NFL, stuff like that, tampering. Could that be the same situation? Could it be? Probably so. It could be. Anyway, Geno Smith is apologizes to the fan apologizes for flipping off a fan in their loss to the Browns. Doris Sanders is set to start. This past week he was set to start, so he did start this week. Marshall Faulk is now the head coach of Southern University football program. The ESPN's president wants better schedule for inside the NBA. So my guess with that little tidbit is that they know, ESPN knows what kind of traffic they can get from inside the NBA. They knew what the numbers were when they brought him over. So this is probably the reason why they brought him over. So they knew what the numbers were anyway. So what they want to do is they want to get him more time. So hopefully they can fit that in and figure that out some kind of way. All right. And again, Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert has set to have surgery on his non-throwing hand. He doesn't expect to miss much. Doesn't expect to miss, any time at all. Right as of right now. By the way, their backup quarterback is Trey Lance. So hopefully some things will go in the Eagles' favor. Although we do have to go out there. And the Eagles are the only team that does not have back-to-back home games in the entire NFL this year, which is absurd, which is crazy for the defending Super Bowl champions. Again, they do not have any back-to-back home games at all this year. They have back-to-back road games, but no back-to-back, no back-to-back home games, which is crazy, right? Really crazy, because you would think the Super Bowl champions would have some back-to-back home games. And again, they are the only team in the entire NFL to not have back-to-back home games. So we'll see. But whatever the reason behind that was, we'll probably never know. So NCAA basketball yesterday, women's top 25. Fairfield at number 11, Iowa. Iowa holds on 86-73. Penn plays number 4, Texas. Texas holds on 81-63. Bellarmine at number 23, Louisville. Louisville bombs them 100-37. Number 1, UConn at Xavier. UConn 104, Xavier 39. Grambling at number 15, Baylor. Baylor takes that 76-35. I'm sorry. Number 14, Tennessee at UCLA. Number 3 holds on 99-77. Clemson at number 20, Michigan State. Michigan State holds on 73-64. Florida State at number 9, Oklahoma. Number 9, Oklahoma takes that game 109-91. On the men's side, also on the top 25 NCAA basketball, Wyoming at Texas Tech. Texas Tech holds on 76-70. In the NHL yesterday, let's see. Hey, Cassandra Howard, how are you? Thank you for tuning in. Everybody that's tuned in, Sergio, Aaron, and Cassandra, please make sure y'all check out the page. I know I'm live right now, but make sure when I'm done, y'all go back and check out the page. There's some great content over there for y'all. All right. Continuing on, like I was saying, NHL scores from yesterday. Capitals and the Islanders. Capitals take that 4-1. The Ducks fall to the Blackhawks 5-3. The Flames get shut out by the Hurricanes 1-0. Khalid Mustafa, thank you. And the Senators fall to the Stars 6-1. In the NBA yesterday, the Rockets 129, the Jazz 101. The Cavs fall to the Celtics by a close one, 117-115. The Raptors fall to the Knicks 116-94. The Sixers get beat by the Hawks. Double overtime, mind you. 142-134. First time this season we've seen what we call the big three, our 3 superstars on the court together. Still uncertain about what the game plan is for those 3, but I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on. Moving on, Thunder and the Blazers. The Blazers fall 123-115. The Spurs get beat by the Timberwolves 125-112. The Grizzlies get by the Kings 115-107. And the Pelicans fall to the Lakers 133-121. Those are your scores from yesterday. And, of course, we had NFL games, right? We can go back to Thanksgiving. Like I said, we can go back to Thanksgiving. And I hope everybody's had a good Thanksgiving. Glad you're joining in with me right now. Some of you probably still off work, had a little extended days off work or whatever. But I hope you enjoy the content, right? Second time, actually, doing the full live on TikTok. I'm still learning it, but I think I'm getting it. I think I'm getting it down. I think I'm getting it together. So we'll keep working at it and see what happens. But I definitely appreciate the people that are tuned in that have joined. All right, Week 13 NFL, going back to Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. All right, Green Bay at Detroit. Green Bay takes that 31-24. Kansas City falls in Dallas 31-28. And Cincinnati goes down to B More and beats the Ravens 32-14. Black Friday game brought back. The way we played shouldn't have been brought back. Bears come into town in the Link, South Philly, and they beat the Eagles 24-15. Moving into yesterday's games, I'm going to talk about that Eagles game in just a minute. All right, talk about the Eagles too in just a minute. All right, so yesterday's game, San Francisco at Cleveland. 49ers take that 26-8. Jacksonville beats Tennessee 25-3. The Texans get by the Colts 30-16. The Saints fall to the Dolphins 21-17. The Falcons fall to the Jets 27-24. Maybe there is some hope for Aaron Glenn. Remember, I was telling y'all I didn't know it was looking a little shaky to me I wasn't sure how he was going to last, but got another win. So hopefully some things are looking a little bit better for him. Right? It's not looking better for the season. Just hope the brother can keep his job for at least another season. All right. Arizona at Tampa Bay. The Bucks holding on 2017. The Rams get beat by the Carolina Panthers 31-28. Minnesota, the Vikings get shut out by Seattle 26-0. Buffalo beats Pittsburgh 26-7. Las Vegas falls to the Chargers 34-14. And then the night game last night, Denver squeaks by Washington 27-26. Tonight you got closing out week 13, Monday Night Football. New York Giants at the New England Patriots. Isaac Jamara. Thank you, brother. Thanks for joining in. I like all the people that joined in on TikTok. Definitely appreciate that. Again, I'm on TikTok live at Sports Rap CEO. If you need to get me, again, all these videos, you know where they go up later on. So, that being said, we just got through our scores, our schedules, well, not schedule, our scores. I'll give you Monday night games and I'll go through my week for my week of picks later on in the show. But I tell you all the time, I'm an Eagles fan, Sixers fan, Philly 4, whatever, like that. I'm not jumping shit. Y'all, some of y'all are probably saying, oh, you know, having the gear on today. Yeah, I mean, I'm not one of those fans who's like, I'm just not wearing it today, whatever. No, it doesn't deserve to be worn right now. And like I said, I like to call a spade, right? I like to call a spade a spade. Again, I'm not jumping shit. I'm just not, they're just not worthy of me representing like that today. All right. 2, I slightly give the Sixers the benefit of the doubt because they had some pieces mixed in that hadn't played in a while. Definitely pieces that hadn't played together in a long while. So I kind of give them a little bit of a pass, and I'll get to talk about that in a second as well. But for my birds, you know, it's typically either a Victory Monday or a not Victory Monday. The days again are not Victory Monday. All right. And again, like I said, the way that they lost is definitely why I don't have the gear on. Okay. But here's the thing. Again, I'm not shying away from anything. I'm not ducking them or anything. I'm here. Right. I'm just not wearing the gear today. I'm not doing it today. All right. They don't deserve it today. Like I said, they don't deserve it today. And I'm always wanting to tell you that I am going to be on my guys when they need to be got on. So, we've been talking for several weeks about the offense. You've all been hearing A.J. Brown's comments. And from the beginning, I've told you all that I really didn't have much of an issue with what A.J. Brown said. And then last week, I told you guys, listen to me, listen to what I tell you, and take it for what it's worth. I said, but also I want you to listen to, if you still want to listen to, which I know you are, the mainstream media. And again, I tell you, their job is to sell papers, sell news, tell articles, get ratings and all of that jazz, right? When you listen to those stories, make sure you go back and do your research and listen to what the actual athlete said or the actual coach said. So all I'm saying is all I've been saying, right? So for me, again, had nothing really wrong with what A.J. Brown was saying. I understood it, right? I'm here. I watch it. I understood what was going on. So, again, nothing wrong with what he said. Now, the hat is beginning, well, the pot is beginning to boil over. The pot was beginning to boil a few weeks back. Came to a head, I believe, in the Dallas game, I'm going to say. And then it's now boiled over since the Bears game on Good Black Friday. And again, we'll go back, and we've been consistently calling out Kevin Patullo. So much to the point where there was even a former Eagles quarterback in Nick Foles, another Super Bowl MVP, who pointed out some things from a player standpoint. And some of the things that he pointed out were the fact that sometimes as the quarterback, you have to go into that huddle and you got to listen to your guys, talk to your guys. All right. They're the ones out there playing. And I say this a lot too. They're the ones out there playing. So they may see something and that can make a play that could be beneficial. You know, when Smitty saw something in the game, I think it was against the Rams earlier in the season, he saw that play. It came out at halftime. They lined up that way again. They saw it. They audible to it. They did it. Right? They did that last year. It's not there this year. Another thing that Nick Foles mentioned, he said that sometimes coaches are meant to be where they were. Kevin Patullo was the passing game coordinator, right? Passing game coordinator. So he was in the booth overseeing what was going on, looking for the glitches and things of that nature. Maybe that's better suited for him, he was saying, right? Not saying he's a bad coach or anything like that. What he's saying is that he could possibly be better suited to remain in the booth, right? So what that means is maybe Nick Sirianni needs to rethink this. And now we have this short mini bye week, right, to have some things reevaluated on the coaching standpoint, play calling standpoint. But getting back to my main point, we have been on Kevin Patullo, right? And I even go every week. I've been bringing stuff to you. In the last couple of weeks, I've showed you. I said, yeah, even against Dallas and then now against the Bears, you saw some motion. So it's kind of like you kind of spoon feeding us, or you kind of like trying to pacify us, but you heard what was being said. I also see now, and I'm kind of hinting at this last week when I talked to you all about the Eagles. I talked about things, how things go on. And again, I pay attention to a lot of things differently than most average fans do because I do this podcast. So listen, hear me out. And I've noticed this and heard someone else say it today. Didn't have to hear them say it to confirm it for me, but it was just one of those aha moments for me. It's like, I said it. And now someone even closer to the situation has seen it. So, okay. We'll see. Now, the thing is, are the players beginning to underperform purposely? We know what happens in these professional leagues. We've seen it happen with the Sixers when Doc Rivers was here, when the team quit on him. We saw it. We can talk about it for different teams. We talk about the other teams, not just here, but I'm saying here because I'm here. And these are my guys. These are my teams. But we've seen it in other teams, right? Definitely seen it. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you. And one of the things I've noticed is body language, some players, and then now there's beginning to be in the media finger pointing, right? I don't necessarily think it's coming from the actual players in the locker room because every time I hear the players in the locker room and they're asked questions about the coaches or they ask players about questions about specific points of a game or references of a game, their answer is maybe you need to talk to the coach, right? I'm just a player, right? And one of those things is really important because what it does is it begins to bring some chatter to the locker room. It brings a bad light on the team and it begins to talk about the camaraderie. But also, it begins to break things up. But again, I haven't heard myself or seen or read anything about the players actually pointing fingers at each other. I hear the media is breaking that up, bringing that up, and hitting it in what they report. Every time, like I was just saying, every time I've heard a player and they would ask a certain question or about a game reference or a game play, certain things, specific things, sometimes their response was, you might need to ask the coach, which I have nothing wrong with because like I always say, being a former coach's job is to put his players in the best position to succeed. And at that level, it's the best position to succeed and win. That's what you're paid to do. Your object of your title is to win games. You're supposed to put these players in a position to win games. Put them in the best position. It's a ton of talent on this team. The commentators in the booth that are commentating on these national televised games are even breaking it down and seeing it. And I always say this to y'all: if they're up in the booth and they see it, why can't the coaches on the sideline see it? Takes me back to one of the things I've said way back when, and this is a lot rampant with the Eagles, with the Sixers as well, and a little bit with the Phillies and a little bit with the Flyers. Philadelphia, the Philadelphia grit, that loyalty thing. Sometimes and a lot more times than not, it comes back to bite them in the ass. And since we're talking Eagles right now, this loyalty thing is beginning to bite them in the ass. Well, it's not biting them, it's gnawing. It's like consistency biting, gnawing at the ass. Right? Like I said, the pot is now boiled over. We got this mini bye week, right, to do some things, talk about some things, talk to some people, and make some decisions, some hard decisions, some very difficult decisions that need to be made, some very difficult conversations that need to be had, because the season can still be salvaged, right? Right now they fell down to third, okay? I really don't think with their remaining schedule that they're going to fall too much lower than 3, all right? Their remaining schedule, let me get this out. The Eagles' remaining schedule, right? They got the Chargers coming up on Monday night, next Monday. After that, they've got Washington. They've got the Raiders, should be a win. Then they got the Commanders, should be a win. Then the Bills, tough one. Hopefully they'll get their heads out of there. You know Watson can come back and win that game as well. And then they got the Commanders. So they got the Commanders twice, the Raiders. 3 definite winnable games. Even with us saying how they look down, right? Even with everything that's going on, I still have faith that those 3 games are winnable games. One at home against the Commanders, one in D.C., and then one at home against the Raiders, right? Right now, my toughest 2 games, well, the toughest game I see on the schedule is the Bills, and it's a little bit of uncertainty about the Chargers because that's going to be coming off this little mini bye week and coming off all of this that we're talking about now. Listen, what needs to happen for me? I can't necessarily say fire like everybody else is jumping the gun and say fire the guy, because it probably won't happen. I read somewhere that Jeffrey Lurie does not like to be embarrassed, so maybe he'll begin to throw his hand in the mix and hint at some things that should probably happen. But again, like I said, some difficult conversations need to be had, and some difficult decisions are going to ultimately need to be made very, very swiftly. Like I said, within this mini bye week, right? Because this is going to be the time to do it. Like I said, with the season being salvageable, this is now the time to do it. And it's beyond time to do it. So what you do is you figure out a way. You bring somebody in as a consultant or something, and you put him back up in the booth. It's happened before. You put defensive coordinators back up in the booth. Defensive coordinators on the sideline. It's been done. Put them back up in the booth. All right, let him see things from that standpoint. Maybe it will even change his sight again. Maybe he'll get his sight back or something. Something will click with him being up there in the booth. Because him on the sideline, him being in total control of calling plays is not going to get it. The other thing I want to mention that I'm beginning to get a little sour with, a little disturbed with, and don't get me wrong, I think he's a good coach, Nick Sirianni. I think he's a good coach. He's had success since he's been here, right? The one problem I have with him, again, like I said, is the loyalty issue. This is your friend. This is your guy, right? When you had Shane Steichen right here, when you had Kellen Moore here, offensive coordinators, they had control. If you haven't, allegedly, there's been reports allegedly he doesn't have total control, that Nick Sirianni still has a hand in it. So now it's up to you to either take it over or just be brutally honest with your friend and tell him, look, it's not working. We need to change something. And it needs to change immediately, right? Definitely needs to change immediately. And again, that's one of those hard conversations that need to be had. You got to tell this guy, listen, we're going to make some changes. And again, like I said, I really don't like to say fire people. I don't like to see people lose their job unless like it's warranted. But at this point, it all intent purposes, we can very easily argue that it is warranted for him to be fired right now. But he's that loyalty in this organization. So I say you demote him for now. Right? You demote him if you don't want to fire him, but you got to demote him. You have to, because what he's going through is not working. And now, where I was going is now it's beginning to become an issue with the players, because in my opinion, it's looking like the players are underperforming because of their frustration with the coach. I listened to the commentators against the Cowboys game, then against the Bears game. So it's two different sets of commentators. Some of them said a lot of the same things. They made reference to the Eagles' run game and the great, superb run game it was last year. Last year we didn't have the injury bug on that offensive line, and again, I'm not making an injury excuse, but we didn't have the injuries on that offensive line. Right? For some reason, there's not any continuity there. For some reason, something's not right with that offensive line. This offensive line is usually arguably the best or one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. The last couple of weeks, they're not playing like it. So it makes me believe. I know Lane Johnson is out, yes. You had to fill in some spots. Some other guys missing time, yes. But I also see things that are missing. I've been reading it all morning, been hearing it all morning. Tank Bigsby, like 2 carries in the last 2 games. When teams are now seeing the year that Saquon had last year, rushing for 2,000 yards, teams are definitely loading the box. Everybody that you play is loading the box. And you want to consistently run inside the tackles. It's not going to work. You got to be creative and run some outside, right? I also have to give it to some of the players, too. Sometimes it looks like Saquon is waiting for the play as opposed to last year. He was making plays. All right, and I'm just telling you, I'm not saying this is definite. I'm telling you how I look at things and what I'm seeing in some time. I'm not saying it's consistent. It's all the time. I said, but there are moments when it looks like he's waiting for a play instead of going and making a play. My guy, QB1, couple passes you missed. You missed that slant to Devontae, right? Is a key 3rd down play. You throw the ball behind Devontae, he was wide open. But also on that same play, if you go back and you look at it, you had Devontae open, which should have been an easy throw, or you even had Dallas Goedert up the seam. Either one of them could have arguably scored a touchdown. Game outcome of the game could have arguably have been different from that point on. All right, could have been different. Again, you got AJ Brown, and sometimes it looks like he shortchanging routes. Sometimes it looks like he's giving up on routes. Somebody brought up a thing when they were talking about the A.J. Brown issue, saying, oh, well, I'm surprised. It was an old former Eagle, and I'm surprised that he's acting like this because, on a team, if I was a team player and, my other guys are eating, I wouldn't be pouting and worrying about that I'm not getting the plays as long as we still winning. Yeah, y'all went about this all wrong. Y'all judged that book by the cover, and y'all overlooked the things that you get paid to look at, in my opinion. Now I see what I was saying. Now I see that it looks like these guys are underperforming for a reason. I'm thinking that if they feel like if they underperform now, that it will kind of force the hand of someone to make a change somewhere, which is what they arguably want. Okay, I think that's what they want. So, again, we know what happens at this level. Players get to this level, they do certain things, and they can get coaches fired. And again, remember, I always say, you can fire a coach easier than you can fire a player, right? We definitely know that. We know that. We know that. And I don't have to keep telling y'all that. We already know it. We know that you can definitely fire a coach easier than you can get rid of a player. But the player's got a contract. With a coach, you can fire the coach. Give him a severance package. Do what you want to do. Like I said, and then you can move on. But with the coach, you can't. I mean, with the player, you can't get rid of them that easy, right? Can't get rid of players that easy. So again, I think now, like I said, it's boiled over. I think the Eagles also somewhat overlooked the Bears coming in. Bears ran the ball like extremely well. Like I typically tell you, the defense held its job up, but the defense didn't look great at all yesterday either. And this is what I got. This is when I had that thought pop into my head. Like, wait, what are these guys doing? Is it like a unity thing? So they got to play both sides of the ball, like the players are together again. But I don't like it from the defense. There's a lot of missed tackles. Again, like I mentioned in the post, and a lot of people like to post on Instagram that, and I saw that picture. You can go back and check it. It's a picture of Kevin Petullo on one side, and then the post is on the right hand side in a collage. I said that the players are beginning. I said, yeah, they're beginning. You know, I said we saw some signs of some flashes of the creativity in certain games, certain plays, and then it just goes away. Also, with the running game, getting back to that, you got Tank Bigsby, who's not been getting the ball, which I think he should be getting the ball. We can use that. The Eagles have done it before with previous running backs. Thunder and Lightning, right? We've had it. You got Tank Bigsby. You have to use him, especially like I was saying, when you know teams are now. And if you don't know it by now, I don't know what the hell you're looking at. 13 weeks into the season, you should know this by now, like the back of your hand. You should expect the box to be blocked, the box to be clogged every week. From first play on, the box is going to be clogged. You should expect that every week now. But anyway, when you know that's coming, and then if you don't know it, when you see it there, then you bounce back and forth. You throw those running backs in and out. You change that pace. You open that running game up, and then you get back to what got you where you were. You have a running quarterback. You have to incorporate some of that into your offense as well. It's only going to make things easier for your running backs. And then you know what else that's going to do? It's going to soften up that box. It's going to make you able to go play action. And things will be open. But you have to now, some kind of way, as a coaching staff, Nick Sirianni, it's on you. And maybe even might come down to Howie might have to chime in, and Lori might have to chime in anyway. But you got to get these guys back. You got to pull these guys back. Because if you don't pull them back, they could ideally take this season, get into the playoffs just by their record, and be a one and done and call it a season and hope that you bring stuff back next year, right? Now you know it's been twice that it has failed. When you lose an offensive coordinator, you have to get it again. And I hate to say it, and I'm a little nervous about saying it, but I think it's going to happen again. If Jalen, well, not if, but Jalen Hurts will be back next year, and with a brand new offensive coordinator once again. So the entire time he's been here as the starter, he's had a different offensive coordinator every year. And a lot of people don't give him credit for that when they talk about him. I saw another post right before I came on air when people talk about the quarterbacks. They talk about Lamar. They talk about Josh Allen. They talk about Joe Burrow and these other guys. They had a bad game, and then it's just okay. They underperform, right? They'll pick it back up. It's not like them. It's uncharacteristic, yada, yada, yada. Jalen Hurts has a bad game, and it's the end of the world. He was never that good anyway. He's washed. Again, when you talk about today's football, you talk about what people talk about in today's football. You talk about wins. Jalen Hurts does win. The one thing that he has gotten over both of those or those other three guys that I mentioned, he has a Super Bowl ring, he has a Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion. He has been to the Super Bowl twice, and he outperformed his opponent in both games. First one against the Chiefs, even though they lost, he still outperformed Patrick Mahomes. And definitely in the second one where he won the MVP, he outperformed Patrick Mahomes. See, so you have to call a spade, right? You have to. Like I always say, you got to call a spade a spade. So again, I think that it's boiling over now, and those players now are beginning to use their actions as their voice and expressing their feelings, because I don't think that they'll just come flat out and say, look, this dude is not working, we need to change. And because, like I said, that's on the decision of the higher ups. It's not the player's decision to make that call about demoting somebody, firing somebody, changing the offense. That is not the co-player's position. But I do, like I said earlier, I do like what I heard from Nick Foles. And I've said this before too. Sometimes you got to listen to your guys. Like you said, Jalen Hurts, you're the leader, you're the quarterback in that huddle. Talk to your guys. Listen to what they say. If they tell you stuff in there that they see, and we've seen you call audibles, gotta listen to the guys. Sometimes what the guys see out there on the field is a little different than what the coach sees standing on the sideline. And then you just run it across the channels and run it up the chain of command. You like Nick Foles said, he's talking to the coach saying, look, WP, JP wants this, but I'm coming to you telling you don't have to do it. I'm just telling you what he says, yada, yada, yada. And he's watching me right now walk over to you asking you for this play. All right. And let the coach make the decision. And then there's going to be times, like we said, when you see things on the field, you're going to have to audible. But I don't think that the players have enough confidence in this offense to want to stretch that far and take that step. So, again, like I said, when you listen to the media, make sure you listen to the media and make sure you go back and listen and pay attention to what the player or the coach said before the media reports came out. If not, then come and listen to me on Mondays and check me all week on social media. Right here at TikTok at Sports Web CEO and on Instagram at Sports Web CEO. All right, that's my handle. All right. You got to listen to what the players say. Like I said, I do this because of my love of sports, and I like to keep it real with the people that I talk to, right? I built a following on me standing on the things that I say, being honest, being truthful, and trying to help people understand the other side of the business side of sports. Not just football, but sports. All right, so when I talk trades, I try to give you reasons. I don't try to give you all the time the dollar amounts, because sometimes the dollar amounts are in there, sometimes they're not. But a lot of times to the average fan, the dollar amounts really don't make much of a difference. A lot of times the first thing they're going to say, oh, that's too much money. Perfect example, like I always use it, and I go back to the Tobias Harris situation. Yeah, he got traded here. Okay, he was having a hell of a career. He didn't make the All-Star game, fine, well, whatever. But it was time to re-sign him. Jimmy Butler went through a situation where he knew he was not returning, no matter what the Sixers tried to do, if they did or did not do, or if they would have. He got into a situation, and he realized that he was not going to be coming back to the Sixers. Right? He knew that. So he left it alone. Now, at the state that the Sixers were in at the time, they kind of had no choice but to keep one. They could not let both of them go away. Now, I was even one to say in the whole situation, yeah, I agree with everybody. A lot of people, the money was crazy. I didn't agree with the money, but I can't do nothing about the money. It's not my money. And then also, I looked at it both ways. On the flip side, I told a lot of people, listen, put yourself into Tobias Harris's shoes. They offer you this money. Are you really going to leave that money on the table? That much money? Are you really going to leave that much money on the table? It's giving it to you. No, I'm gonna sign it too. So again, it wasn't it wasn't his fault. Sixers were in a situation, like I said, where they couldn't let both of them go. Again, I said this. You can go back and find it. You know the dates when it happened. You can go back. I said this at the time. I said I did not agree with the money. Yes, I would like everybody else. I didn't agree with the money, but I understood the reason of keeping him signed, and they felt like that was the only way they could keep him signed and not let both of them walk away. So that's what they did. Right? I have no, like I said, I have no control over that. All right, no control over that, none at all. It is what it is, and that's just what it is. And I try to tell people, help people out with that. Like, don't get too caught up in your feelings when things happen that you don't like, because one, it's not your money. Two, it's really nothing you can do about it. And then three, do a little research, do a little homework, and you might can understand why certain things happen at certain times. right? You might find out some things and understand things a little bit better. So again, talking Eagles, they again definitely some difficult conversations, some difficult decisions need to be made in this mini bye week to do whatever they can to try and salvage the season. If that's what they want to do. Hopefully that's what they want to do. I would love to see them try to salvage the season. But some decisions have to be made, and they have to be made rather quickly. Coming up, like I said, Eagles got the Chargers again. Justin Herbert has a broken hand. He's expected to have surgery as soon as possible. He's not expected to miss time. But even though it probably would have helped us a little bit more if they were coming here to playing a little chill with that broken hand. But all this means is that the Eagles now have to add into their game plan getting some pressure on him, knowing that that hand is going to be surgically repaired. And I'm not saying go after the hand. I said put pressure on him. Make him do things that he will not be totally comfortable with that hand injury. Although, again, it is his offhand. But if he has to scramble, he's going to have to use that hand, right? It might get in the way. If the pocket get pressure on the pocket gets crowded, he may bang that hand on a helmet or something. And if it's surgically repaired, it's going to be some pain there, right? And again, I said Trey Lance is their backup. We know how he has been erratic, sputtering, not consistent. I think this is like his third team in the last 2 years or the last year and a half. So we know what that is, all right? And again, like I said, conversations and things need to be made. Like I said, there has to change some things that have to change in this Eagle situation. Definitely got to get some things changed in that situation. And hopefully they'll get it done. I'm going to go back and look at the press conference later because I was doing my due diligence. And when I look at it and get some notes and whatever, I'll bring some stuff to y'all a little bit later on. Maybe tomorrow or next day or something. But anyway, moving right along. Last night, Sixers Hawks. Initial injury report had Joel Embiid unavailable to play. Minutes before the game, I check my phone, I get an alert, and then I check my phone and I look, and there's a picture with the three stars starting together for the first time this season. Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid has since been stating, most recently in post-game interviews yesterday, that he's just itching to get back on the court. He's dying. He'll do anything to just play basketball. Okay, sir, I hear you. I respect that. And I honestly, I think he's sincere with that. But what that means also is that you have to buy in with what the coaching staff is going on. Again, I see what I see. He's not there yet. It's looking a little bit. He looks a little bit better getting up and down the court, and that's just conditioning. I feel like we need to get away a lot more than we do from that two-man game with him and Max, and he shoots that elbow jump shot or is popping back out to the three. I need him on the block. We all know the year he won MVP, he was arguably the best big man in the league, and he was talking to be the best big man in the league for the couple years. And we've seen it. He knows it. We know it. And I'm not saying don't use that play. Yeah, that play is a viable play because he's skilled and he can shoot that. He can also get to the dribble off of that if he needs to, right? Instead of shooting that elbow jumper, right? But I need you to be on the block. I need you to be that physical presence that won you the MVP. I need you to be that physical presence that's going to balance out some leverage for our shooters, the Paul Georges, the Jordan McCains, the Quentin Grimes, the Tyrese Maxeys, right? And we all know this team is Tyrese Maxey's team now, right? That's why I said I think Joel is now figuring out, yes, his team is not my team anymore. It's not. It's Tyrese Maxey's team. I think someone has finally spoken to Paul George and let him know that he does have a green light when he's out there. I said that last year. I said I felt like he was playing too tentative, like he was unsure of when to go and when not to go. So, in what I saw in the 2 games that he played, it looks like coaches have told him, you do have the green light. When you think you can go, you go. He said it himself a little bit in the post game conferences that he felt good, but some other things he said were not to the liking of my guy Tankadelphia on IG at Tankadelphia. I did see your post. I saw your comments. I saw that. I thought it was kind of funny too. And I also kind of agree with you. That old cliche saying, "Your best ability is availability." And what he said was he was out there. He said he felt good. Then he turned around and he said his back tightened up a little bit, and that's what got Tankadelphia crazy. And I kind of agree with that. Like I'm not getting as crazy as he got, and I thought it was kind of funny as well. But that is kind of strange to say. You say like you felt good, and then you say your back tightened up again, and you playing the minutes restriction, yada yada yada. But then you shouldn't have thrown in there that your back tightened up a little bit. That's a little strange, whatever. Again, Tankadelphia, we got to get together. We got to link up some kind of way, bro, and we got to talk some Sixers, man. Because I see a lot of your stuff. I'm starting to comment more, and yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of things we seem like we think about are very very similar. In our dialogues and in our conversation, well, not our conversation, but in our dialogues and some of the things that are posts. So we definitely got to find a way to connect and do something together for the people. And I'll just keep mentioning it to you. I'll try to keep sending you messages, and whenever we can square something up, we can try and square something up and get that done. But they played last night. All of them had double figures. Maxey was the lead scorer. I think he had 40 or something, whatever. But he has put this team on his back right now. Right now he's like second in scoring. I think he's like second or third in minutes played. And he has not broken down as of yet. We are expected to get Kelly Oubre and Trent Watford back within the next week. I think Kelly Oubre this week, Trent Watford maybe in a week or so. The other thing, and my guy, if he's tuned in, Tank is going to love this part. The other thing I need to see from the Sixers, and I don't understand it because I feel like he's a good coach, and some of the people that are watching will think I'm crazy for saying it, but I think he's a good coach. I think he's now struggling with the injuries and how to utilize the bodies that he has, and then try to sprinkle back in the injured starters or the injured guys when they come back. I think the Sixers are 9-8 right now, so they're like ninth in the league. So they're kind of like guaranteed a playoff spot if it ended today. Playoffs started today or whatever. But that's not where they want to be with the wide open East the way it is, especially with the roster to what it is on paper. But you've got to get these guys on the court. You've got to get these guys on the court consistently. It's hurtful to say that you have 2 stars that are taking up a lot of money in your salary cap that are not going to play back-to-backs. We don't know when that's going to end. It's probably not going to end all season for Joel Embiid, but I don't understand why it's the same situation right now for Paul George. If Paul George is saying to you that he feels good, aside from the little crack that his back got tightened up a little bit, but if he's telling you that he feels good, now you have to start weaning him off that minutes restriction, right? You got to give him an extra 2 or 3 more minutes here and there, right? You have to build him back in, and again, he can be in shape, conditioning shape, but he's got to get in. He's got to get some repetition on the court. Basketball player, that's the only way you're going to get back into a rhythm, back into a flow. You have to play basketball. So this is the reason why I said in the beginning of this Sixers segment that I said I kind of believe Joel Embiid. Because I think he's that dedicated. And I say that because I've seen it over the years, and I felt like that over the years with a lot of his injuries where he tried to come back, and his thing was, I need to come back and help my team. Again, going back to that old cliche, your best ability is availability. He wanted to make himself available, but then he got to the point where he really realized that he just can't do it. He couldn't do it. But his heart, I felt like, was always in it. I felt like he always wanted to be able to be on the court with his players. And I also have said I want his heart to be a little bit more into his conditioning in the summertime. So you can come in and avoid some of this stuff in the beginning of the season. And again, I'll take it in the beginning of the season. I don't like it, but I'd rather it happen now in the beginning of the season than, like I always say, it happen in April and March, going into a playoff run, possible playoff run. And again, like I said, the Sixers are in a great position with the guys they have that can come back. Nick Nurse has to figure out these rotations, right? When you get these guys back, you have to figure out a rotation. And I think once Kelly Oubre comes back, once Trent Watford comes back, I think what you have to do for maybe a game or two is let your two guys play, your two injured stars. Let them play. And I also feel like take them off the minutes restriction for 1 or 2 games. Because if you keep them on a minutes restriction, it's going to continuously make it harder for you to sprinkle them in or fit them in if guys begin to start playing well. I think the more he plays, and I think it was a great idea for him to go down and play in the G League for a little bit, Jared McCain, I think he's beginning to get his footing. I think he's beginning to find his rhythm, find his way back into the grind of playing basketball. You got to do this. You're not going to send those two. Ideally, you're not going to send those two down to the G League to play, right? Embiid and Paul George. So you got to start breaking up these minutes restrictions. I said, just take it 2 games. Give yourself an experimental 2 games. Look at your schedule. You know what you can do. You know who you play coming up, right? Find a game against a team that, like, you could have probably did it against the Nets. You got the Nets coming up again on the 23rd. And I'm not saying it has to be like the very next game. So it's just thinking some thoughts out there, some things to think about. You may have to let them play and take the minutes restrictions off so you can figure out where they are. It's the only way it's going to happen because you can't see it really in practice. You have to see it under live bullets. Right? That's where you have to see it. Again, I don't know. They don't play tonight. I think they don't play again until maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. So, again, like I said, you may have to do that. You may have to take the minutes restriction off, like I said, for a little bit. And 1 or 2 games, let them give you whatever they can give you. And you got coaches out there on the bench that can monitor it, like take the minutes restriction off, but have those coaches say, look, keep an eye on him, and when it looks like I need to pull him, you let me know and I'll pull him. Right? But not have that necessarily be depending on where the state of the game is. But don't let that be the end of his night. Save some of that. Like I said, make sure they monitor and let you know you can pull them out. And you save a little bit of that for maybe a moment when you might need them. All right. Lastly, folks, since I'm talking basketball, and we all know Bolo, what's happening, good brother? What's happening, bro? We all heard that this is going to be the final season for Chris Paul. He is hanging up the shoes finally at the end of this season. Chris Paul is another person who is going to retire without a ring. But as soon as I he was one of the greatest winners. It says in the NBA. I don't know about the greatest winners because I've only seen him make the finals once. And I do think that he could go down arguably as one of the greatest point guards in the league. For a long time, I used to say to people, and just watching him play, that I felt like he could take over or take control of a game without scoring a point. Of course, that has faded now with the age and him not playing a lot, not playing as much as he used to. But I also do definitely think that he will go down as one of the greatest point guards in the league to play. I'm not 100% sure he's in the Hall of Fame yet, but I'm guessing he will go in, even though he didn't win the championship. I mean, AI went in, but again, AI was a special breed. AI was a little different. But I think Chris Paul should still get in the Hall of Fame. Um, it's one of those things where you kind of feel for guys as a fan on the outside looking in, and then you wonder what the guys or the people that are actually voting, you want actually what is their thought process? What are they looking at? Are they really looking at the history of this player, the longevity of this player? Makes you wonder. It's kind of head scratching a lot of times. So we'll see what happens. But again, a great career for Chris Paul again. Again, like I said, should be, if he's not already, should be in the Hall of Fame. Again, arguably one of the best point guards to play the game. It's somewhat sad, somewhat disappointing that he has not won a championship. Kind of feels like that for me, the way I feel like for two of my favorite Sixers, Charles Barkley and Allen Iverson, who both retired, both are in the Hall of Fame, and both of them didn't win a championship. Although they did play for a championship. And again, all three of them. Chris Paul did play for one, Allen Iverson played for one, and Barkley played for a championship. They just couldn't win. Chris Paul ran into the Warriors. AI ran into Shaq and Kobe. And Barkley ran into the GOAT, MJ. So we know how those things turned out. So with that being said, folks, again, I definitely appreciate all the support. I say I'm going to keep rocking with this TikTok thing. There was a lot of response on TikTok. We had a lot of you people joined in. To everybody on TikTok, I'm saying to y'all right now, when this live ends, make sure you get over to the page. And I'm about to give y'all some more stuff to go check out too. All right, so make sure y'all go check all of this out. To all of my people, before I go, you know I got to do it. We're going to get to it. NFL scores, NFL picks for Week 14. Again, like I said, Monday, closing out Week 13 tonight. You got the Giants at the New England Patriots. All right. Coming up, Week 14 is going to start on Thursday, December the 4th. You got Dallas at Detroit. Again, although Dallas played very well the past two games, they beat us. We gave up a 21-point lead, so we kind of beat ourselves in that mix as well. I'm not saying they didn't beat us. I'm saying we had our big hand in that as well. I'm going to take Dallas in there. It's a stretch because I'm just not convinced about Detroit. I think Detroit has been fraud since last year. I think they're showing that a little bit more than what the Eagles are showing how bad they can be right now. Moving into next Sunday, December the 7th, Seattle at Atlanta. I'm going to take the Seahawks there. I'm going to take the Titans over. Actually, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to go with Shador. I'm going to take the Browns at home over the Titans. I'm going to take the Bears over the Packers. Take Minnesota over Washington. I'm going to go with Aaron. Nope. I'm going to go with Aaron Glenn. I'm going to go with the Jets over the Dolphins. The Bucks over the Saints. The Colts over the Jags. Steelers over the Ravens. Broncos over the Raiders. Take Buffalo at home to beat Cincy. Get the Rams to get a bounce back game over Arizona. And I think the Chiefs run is over with. I'm going to take Houston in that defense over them. And then next Monday, of course, like I said, with the things, I'm still riding with my guys. I'm going to take Philadelphia over the Chargers next Monday night. Moving into tonight's schedule, right? Some NHL games for you all tonight. The Blue Jackets and the Devils, the Penguins and the Flyers, the Jets and the Sabres, the Ducks and the Blues, the Mammoth and the Sharks. And NCAA basketball, women's basketball, top 25. Got Nova at West Virginia and San Jose State at Washington. All right, in the NBA tonight, you got the Hawks and the Pistons, the Cavs and the Pacers, the Bucks and the Wizards, the Hornets and the Nets, the Clippers and the Heat, the Bulls and the Magic, the Mavs and the Nuggets, the Rockets and the Jazz, and the Suns and the Lakers. Folks, you know where to find me. Social media. TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at Sports Rap CEO. All one word, at Sports Rap CEO. All right. You can also get me on YouTube. Sports Rap TV is a channel there. You know what to do when you get over there, right? You hit the subscribe button. So you subscribe to the channel. Hit the thumbs up on the content, the videos that you like. And then you hit that bell so you'll be alerted when new content is up, right? After that, you can get to the webpage. Well, I'm working on a new webpage, so don't go there. Also, get over to the Patreon. All right, Patreon slash sports rap podcast slash patreon.com. You can also get audio on our every 24-hour station, Heat 100 Radio, but it's heat100radio.airtime.pro. Again, heat100radio.airtime.pro. All right, and if you are a DJ, a musician, you want to get your music played, internet radio, folks. All right, hit my DM down below. Hit my DM. TikTok, Instagram, hit my DM. All right, I need clean music. If you're interested, shoot me some questions. I'll answer your questions. You can get your music played, and I can tell you how you can get your music played on the air. Again, 24-hour radio station, internet radio station. You can get your music played on. Also, I'm here for hosting, advertising, sponsorships, whatever you know. You have a business or whatever, you can join in with me, and we can collab and make something happen. All right. With that being said, again, be great on purpose. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Enjoy the rest of your Cyber Monday. I wear extra large, size 11, whatever, just extra large. I like hats, as you can see. Anyway, again, for never mind that. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Enjoy your Cyber Monday. Be great on purpose. Check in with me in traffic on social media all week long, and right back next Monday. Peace.